I'll be honest, I didn't expect anything from this car. We live in a time where car content is dominated by the loudest brands, flashiest designs, and the biggest specs. Everybody talks about Teslas, Lucids, Rivians, or whatever hyper EV comes out next. So when I heard about this car, I barely blinked. It's from a brand that isn't known for being exciting. No viral launch event, no headline-grabbing range numbers, just a new model released quietly into a market flooded with electric hype. But then I drove it. And after about 20 minutes behind the wheel, I stopped thinking about content, stopped thinking about comparisons, and just thought, wait, why does this feel so right? This is the story of how a car I almost ignored ended up blowing my mind, saying, not because it's flashy, but because it's honest. We're talking about the EG, Kia EV4, Honda Prologue, BYD Dolphin. No, it's not the best EV on paper. No, it doesn't look like it came from a Blade Runner movie. But the way this car delivers on the things that actually matter, comfort, real-world usability, simplicity, and price, makes it the most underrated car I've driven in 2025. And the wild part? No one's talking about it. Not because it's bad, but because it doesn't scream for attention. And in today's world, that's almost a flaw. So let's break it down one segment at a time. No sponsorship, no brand deals, just me and a car that changed my expectations. I'm not going to lie, this car's design isn't something you'd screenshot and post on Twitter with the caption, "It's just a car," which sounds like an insult. But in 2025, that's kind of refreshing. We've entered an era where car design is all about statements, giant grills, weird lights, spaceship curves. And yeah, that's fun, but this car, it's restrained, intentional, quiet. And you know what? That grew on me faster than I thought. There's a calmness in its presence, nothing exaggerated. The proportions are right, panel gaps are tight, paint quality is solid, not luxurious, but definitely above budget EV territory. Step inside and the same design philosophy continues. The interior is refreshingly normal. I don't mean boring, I mean usable. Physical buttons where you want them. A touchscreen that doesn't lag. Simple layout. It doesn't try to dazzle you with floating screens or AR dashboards, it just works. And that in 2025 is kind of radical. The seats? Not bolstered like a race car, but extremely comfortable. Rear legroom, better than most in its class. Storage compartments? Plenty. It's clear the people who designed this car actually thought about the human experience. One detail I loved, the quietness. Road noise insulation was better than expected. Not luxury sedan quiet, but enough to make podcasts sound crisp at highway speeds. Again, it's not Instagrammable, but it's livable, and that matters more. I've driven cars that wowed me for 10 minutes and annoyed me for 10 months. This car does the opposite. It doesn't ask to be loved, but it earns it. Quietly. Day by day. Let's talk driving, because here's where it really surprised me. When I first pressed the accelerator, I thought, okay, decent pull. Not neck-snapping like a Tesla Model 3 performance, but quick enough for city driving, overtaking, and uphill roads. Then I started noticing things I wasn't expecting. The steering felt responsive, especially in low-speed turns. Suspension? Better than it has any right to be at this price. Soft enough to absorb potholes, but firm enough to feel composed on corners. Even the Rivian braking, something many EVs still struggle to tune well, felt smooth. Not jerky, not abrupt, just natural. Almost like a gas car, but better. And here's what really blew my mind. I didn't feel range anxiety. For the first time in a long time, I drove an EV where I wasn't staring at the battery percentage every 10 minutes. EPA range was around insert value, but in mixed driving, I got damn close to that. That's rare. And when it came time to charge, the fast charging curve was consistent, no sudden drops, no weird behavior. There's a philosophy here. Don't over-engineer, don't pretend to be a sports car, just make the driving pleasant. It reminded me that driving doesn't need to be dramatic, it just needs to feel good.
And that's what this car nails.
Okay, you're probably wondering what's wrong with it.
Because if this car's so great, why isn't it everywhere? Fair question, and I won't sugarcoat anything. First, the tech stack is good, but not amazing.
The UI isn't as smooth as Tesla's. Voice commands can be hit or miss, and you won't find any over-the-top features like Sentry Mode or Autopilot here. Second, design. Let's be real, this car won't win awards for looks. If you care about turning heads, this ain't it. Third, availability. Depending on where you live, this model might be back-ordered or just plain hard to find. Some trims are limited, and the charging network it relies on isn't as robust as Tesla's supercharger ecosystem yet. And last, resale value. It's too early to tell, but lesser-known brands often suffer here, even if the car itself is great. So yes, there are flaws. I'm not saying this is the perfect EV, but none of these feel like deal breakers, not if you're someone who wants a smart, quiet, capable car that doesn't pretend to be something it's not. Because here's the truth, in a world obsessed with more, this car dares to do just enough, and sometimes that's what makes it brilliant. Let's talk features, not the kind that sound cool on a brochure, but the kind that actually make your life easier. This car doesn't have auto summon, it doesn't park itself using satellite maps from space, but what it does have are features that feel like they were added by someone who's actually lived with a car. Example, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto out of the box. No subscriptions, no weird workarounds. A phone tray that actually charges your phone without overheating it. USB-C ports where you need them front and back. The climate control, dual zone, physical knobs, easy to adjust without diving through 3 menus. And then there are the little things. Rear seats that fold flat and lock in place. A cargo area with a low loading lip your back will thank you. A frunk that isn't massive but still usable for cables, bags, or a day's groceries.
None of it's revolutionary, but it's all smart. And in a category where too many brands chase gimmicks, this car just gets the basics right.
And honestly, that makes more difference in daily life than any TikTok-ready feature ever will. Now here's something we don't talk about enough, build quality. Not just does it rattle, but does this feel like it'll last?
And here, again, this car punches above its weight.
The doors close with a solid thump, not luxury grade, but way better than expected. Panel alignment, consistent, materials, mostly soft touch where it matters and hard plastic only where it makes sense. There's a confidence in how it's put together. You get the sense that it was designed with actual ownership in mind, not just showroom impressions. You won't find glass roofs that leak after a year. No mystery squeaks from plastic trying to imitate carbon fiber. No seat fabrics that feel like recycled plastic bags. This is the kind of car you give to someone in your family, and don't worry about it. It might not make headlines, but it might just make memories.
And that, to me, says more than any spec sheet ever could.
Now here's something we don't talk about enough, build quality. Not just does it rattle, but does this feel like it'll last?
And here, again, this car punches above its weight.
The doors close with a solid thump, not luxury grade, but way better than expected. Panel alignment, consistent, materials, mostly soft touch where it matters and hard plastic only where it makes sense. There's a confidence in how it's put together. You get the sense that it was designed with actual ownership in mind, not just showroom impressions. You won't find glass roofs that leak after a year. No mystery squeaks from plastic trying to imitate carbon fiber. No seat fabrics that feel like recycled plastic bags. This is the kind of car you give to someone in your family, and don't worry about it. It might not make headlines, but it might just make memories.
And that, to me, says more than any spec sheet ever could.